The South China Sea, linking the Pacific and Indian Oceans, serving as a crucial maritime thoroughfare. Merchant vessels pass through the South China Sea nearly 500,000 times annually, with around 40% of global goods trade transiting the South China Sea and its surrounding straits. Additionally, millions of civilian aircraft sorties fly over the South China Sea, making it one of the busiest maritime and aerial passages worldwide. Also, the South China Sea is the most open sea across the globe. All countries enjoy freedom of military activities in the South China Sea under international law. Military forces from both regional and external countries conduct tens of thousands of ship days and tens of thousands of aircraft sorties in the South China Sea annually. Millions of times, and about 300,000 ships of various types operate in the South China Sea annually. On monthly average, the ships that navigate or operate in South China Sea were from nearly 110 countries or regions. Among them, the shipping lanes off China coast have the heaviest marine traffic flow, and the shipping lanes off Singapore Strait witness the utmost density of marine traffic flow. Millions of civil aircraft fly over the South China Sea annually. According to statistics from the past 5 years, the sorties of civil aviation in 2023 was 86.07% of the sorties in 2019 in the South China Sea, with a total of 1,143,105 sorties of civilian aircraft from 106 countries or regions flew over the South China Sea, an average of about 3,132 flights per day, and is steadily increasing. The South China Sea is the most open sea across the globe. Countries in and outside the region have surface forces presence of over 20,000 ship days and around 30,000 sorties of military aircraft in the South China Sea each year, along with hundreds of large-scale drills and thousands of various exercises activities. In 2023, more than 400 warships from 16 countries were sailing or operating in the South China Sea, with over 20,000 ship days of surface forces present throughout the year. Nearly 30,000 sorties of military aircraft were active in the South China Sea. Among the nearly 10,000 sorties of military aircraft from extra-regional countries, the vast majority were activities of the U.S. military, approximately 7,872 sorties. Extra-regional countries such as the U.S. often disguise provocative military activities against the coastal states of the South China Sea as freedom of navigation issues. First, according to the U.S. Freedom of Navigation Program, U.S. Navy and Air Force conduct operations to challenge what the U.S. considers excessive maritime claims of other countries. This is a blatant practice of hegemony irrelevant to freedom of navigation to set up a separate system beyond the UNCLOS mechanism and attempt to override international law with its own domestic laws and practices. Although most countries support freedom of navigation, the rest of the world, including U.S. allies such as the UK, Australia, Canada, and other countries, do not have the concept and practice of FONAP. Second, in recent times, about 100 sorties aircraft from the U.S. military are approaching the airspace of Chinese mainland and Hainan Island every year, most of which are less than 30 nautical miles from the baseline of territorial waters. Other extra-regional countries occasionally engage in similar operations, leading to violent incidents. When foreign forces approach Chinese mainland or Hainan Island territorial waters and airspace, the Chinese military responds vigorously, employing actions including interception and pushing outwards. Some foreign militaries often complain about being intercepted by China, portraying the South China Sea as not free and unsafe. However, they conveniently avoid discussing essential information such as the specific locations of encounters and the reasons behind such incidents, clearly indicating a biased narrative. Third, when one party conducts exercises, tracking, monitoring, and reconnaissance by the other party are typical and in line with international norms. However, the reconnaissance actions of some militaries in the South China Sea, especially the U.S. military, sometimes involve dangerously close approaches or intrusions. Such intrusions or harassments have significantly disrupted the maritime freedoms others enjoy and are highly prone to misjudgments, confrontation, and conflict. Given that the various parties in the South China Sea have established alert or restricted zones within 12 nautical miles surrounding these occupied features of Spratly Islands, while the restrictions are typically not imposed beyond the 12 nautical mile scale, incidents of crisis occasionally arise due to disparate claims via fishing activities, law enforcement patrols, and oil and gas development. But friction and conflicts mainly occur among the involved parties and have not been reported to impact the passage of the vessels and aircraft from extra-regional countries. The frequently sensationalized claims of impeding freedom of navigation and endangering navigation safety in the South China Sea region are, in reality, certain disputing parties and some external countries deliberately interpreting sovereignty, disputes over islands and reefs in the area, and maritime boundary disputes as navigation issues. In the current highly scrutinized China-Philippines friction in the South China Sea, China's relevant actions are maritime rights protection activities taken in response to Philippine provocations on China's territorial sovereignty over related features which clearly do not fall under navigation activities and, therefore, do not apply to collision avoidance rules. Overall, the freedom of navigation and overflight in the South China Sea are fully guaranteed for both military vessels and aircraft and civilian ones, and the impact of widely discussed geopolitical factors such as major power competition and maritime disputes is limited. On the contrary, the influence of some non-traditional security factors is worth more attention. The peace, stability, freedom, and security of the South China Sea are crucial to not only the well-being of regional countries, but also the development and security of the region and even the world. Both regional and external countries should contribute their efforts, play constructive roles.